You're listening to Just Another Solar podcast, bringing you the latest from the solar industry. This episode is proudly sponsored by Catch Power. Are you still wasting time on site trying to make complex systems work? Struggling with export limits, max demand thresholds, EV control, or multi-brand headaches? Catch Control is your answer. A 2-pole wide Aussie-made energy meter that does the thinking for you. Export limiting, load control, battery and EV integration, DNSP compliance, all sorted. For more information, please visit our website, catchpower.com.au.
Welcome back to Just Another Solar podcast with Luke Beattie. That's me. Hey, if you're listening on Spotify or YouTube, you notice something different. Yes, that's right. We've joined the 21st century. And after 88 episodes, this is our first video one. If you've ever wondered what it looks like when we record, this is it. And apologies in advance. G'day, Karl Jensen.
Luke, how are you? New mics and stuff. And I've just got a message that says your internet connection is unstable. So that's a new thing.
I don't think it is a new thing for you,
Wouldn't
Karl.
be me without
You're often in a car park or somewhere regional and your internet sucks. Ops as per usual.
Bloody ridiculous. I've got fibre into my garage. How can my internet be unstable?
And Jess MacPherson, how are you?
Hey, mate. Yeah, feeling really good, feeling really energized. Our team spend a lot of time today really sort of coming together and looking at what the next chapter looks like, sort of riding the high of the battery rebate.
And we've got the Smart Energy Conference in SA coming up next Tuesday. And I noticed a promo going out with you as a headliner next to Chris Bowen. Unreal.
Superstar, yes.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that it was like CEO, important politician, energy minister, solar consultant.
Leading industry podcast.
And I guess so. No, I'm really honored. I'm really excited. I've put a lot of gifts into my presentation, so I'm looking forward
Awesome.
to it.
Look forward to seeing you do that one. And industry legend Nigel Morris. How are you, Nige?
I'm well, thank you. I must admit, I'm in a different position to Jess, riding the highs and lows of the battery rebate because there's lots going on. And for people in the manufacturing space like us, sometimes you see a bit of a drop-off before you see a kick-off. But today, oh, man, ballistic WA stuff. Ballistic. We'll come back to WA. But super, super excited and pumped. And actually, I'm really excited again after a couple of days of or a week or so of trudging the boards and just, making calls and everyone's just busy and doing stuff. But today I'm pumped, man, because I saw everything starting to drop into its slots and things taking off again. So, the ups and downs, the solar coaster. Solar coaster.
Well, there was another crisis meeting today with the Smart Energy Council. And this comes to another one.
Oh,
it seems like another week, another crisis meeting. But this one is a huge issue because it comes down to the battery specifications. So to make it very simple, they're changing the guidelines around batteries, whereas the battery terminals can't show any voltage until it's commissioned. Now, apparently this impacts about 30% of manufacturers in the small scale space, but represents up to 80% of the products. So it's an absolute crisis. The SEC's rolled the sleeves up, but if nothing changes, it's just going to be another barrier to us installing the million batteries we have to before 2030.
That's the long and the short of it, isn't it? It's so frustrating and annoying. Again, big shout out to the Smart Energy Council for jumping on this issue because broadly, as Glenn Morris explained, the goal is good, the intention is good, but some of it's been lost in the interpretation and they seem to have become a bit disconnected from the impact that they're going to have on manufacturers around the world yet again.
You said 80% of the batteries. Is it a type? Is it a style of battery that would be compliant naturally?
I think it comes down to the very common modular batteries where you have battery modules that are stacked on top of one another. And they've got terminals
like
on them.
DC coupled?
Yeah, like DC coupled or AC coupled where they join together. So what it's saying is that they need to be electrically safe with no voltage at the terminals.
And more labels. We need more labels because when you look at a system, there's just not enough labels for fuck's sake.
So for inverter OEMs, it's the 23rd of August. Their inverters out of the box have to have regional settings. But here's the real kicker. The CEC now has another inverter list that you have to be compliant to. So you need to meet those regional settings by the 23rd of August and be on that CEC list, or once again, you're going to fall off?
We need to break these apart. So firstly, the crisis meeting today about the battery stuff, that's not locked in yet. There is an opportunity for everyone to get out there and to shout and jump and carry on and make sure that it doesn't get locked in. So it's not a done deal. It's big, has huge implications. If you're a battery manufacturer, you need to be talking to the Smart Energy Council, particularly, who are all over this issue. The inverter standards things is a whole other issue, right? Well, it's been creeping up in the background, clearly. But, that's a whole nother issue. And the fact that you get listed or relisted at the end of August with the new standard doesn't even solve the problem if you're in WA, because in WA there's another list, right? Yeah. There's a separate list.
And interesting that the CEC is out there doing another list and something else to be compliant to, because they're also showing a fair bit of support towards gas, which is quite strange.
Yeah. I don't know about you guys, but I was quite perplexed by their email this week to all members that came from the board. It was the first email we've actually, sort of big email that we've seen from them since Kane Thornton left. Big shout out to Kane, tried his pants off and worked really, really hard for many, many years, but he's gone. And then there's this weird email that came out this week where they talked about restructuring and refocusing and acknowledging that gas was part of the mix. And I just went, wow, what does all this mean? It's weird. I found it very odd, and it was kind of a bit of a self-reflection on the fact that their role and participation in the whole industry, solar, wind, energy in general, is currently under review, and it looked like an existential crisis to me. I can't wait to see what comes out of that.
I got stuck into that with someone on the NEM Watch group, and I highlighted that if the cost of wind energy is $60 a megawatt hour and the cost of battery energy is $200 a megawatt hour, then you can build 3 times as much wind as you can for battery for the same thing for the end user. Wind's 3 times cheaper, so you can build more of it. And anyway, the argument basically boiled down to network operators aren't interested in building generation capacity. They're interested in building money. No more complicated than that. So if they can make more money out of building a battery, and it's a shitload easier to build a battery and park it on a block of dirt than it is to get 5 years worth of approvals and put wind turbines into regional areas. So of course, all the network operators are scrambling to put batteries in because they can make money quite easily, quite quickly. But it's no good if you don't build the generation capacity. Hang on, everyone's going to want to charge from one wind turbine for 5 minutes. And then
we should just keep things interesting, though, and include politics in that, right? Because politics have a huge role in this. I've learned an awful lot about what's going on in WA this week, and politics have played a huge role in what's going on as well, and the machinations behind the scenes which drive the energy policy, let alone the economics, which you rightly point out. As someone said to me once, it's a whole lot easier just selling photocopiers, Nigel.
All right, guys, so we're going to introduce our guest today. Our guest is Lowana Smith, and she is the Division Manager of Rooftop Systems for Schletter Australia. So welcome to the podcast, Luana.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here on a Friday afternoon.
We normally jump in with our guests and they just give a background of how they got into the industry and where they are now. So would you like to give us some of your background that got you here today?
For those that know me would know the story, but I fell into the industry, you could say, especially being a female. We don't commonly go, yep, I want to work in construction, and I definitely want to work in solar. I got into the industry in 2018, and it's by my husband. My husband is a solar electrician, and I had kids at home, and I just couldn't do nothing. I had to work. I didn't know what to do with myself. So I ended up starting up with Solar Hub, who's a very great company to work for, and it started in admin. And it grew from there, and it grew quickly. I went to their commercial department, was helping them with lots of tenders, rebates on the Next Gen program, and project managing a lot of the small STCs. And then I ended up running their residential department in the ops team. I did that up until about 2 years ago, until I relocated to sunny Queensland. And then I came across to Schletter at that time. The introduction to Schletter was just based off the fact that they started using them right before I left, and then it came across from there. So I'm technically from installations and operations and that side of the industry, and it's the first time I've ever worked in manufacturing, let alone
Is it much of a change going from a solar retailer installer and then going to a manufacturer?
Yeah, it's a massive change. One, you don't have to worry about the rain. Like, you don't get anxiety when you're driving to work and it's raining. But two, the biggest thing is I thought I knew a lot of people and I thought I'd had a lot of exposure to the industry. But when you come across to manufacturing, you really connect with a lot of people and you get a lot of exposure to a lot of things. And that's been a really awesome side of it. The only thing I would say now is because I'm in racking and mounting systems, I'm so isolated to good old aluminium and steel that I sometimes lose that side of it when we're talking about batteries and that. So I'm so engaged when we talk about those things. I'm like, tell me everything
Is it hard?
that's going
But
on.
racking's hard to make sexy, right? Panels, you can talk about the top con or technology materials, and it's got this efficiency. Inverters, you talk about the cool features. I mean, racking is hard to make sexy.
It's the unsung hero, isn't it, of the system? It doesn't really get a lot of shine.
It doesn't. It's not really sexy, let's be honest. It's aluminium and steel, and how do you make that interesting? I think you've got to have a little bit of personality to do that, to be fair. But more than anything, it's kind of like someone once said it to me. It's kind of like the Bridgestone ad. Yeah, you've got the tires on the sexy car, and the tires are really important, right? Because that's what holding the car down. That's like 5 fingers on the grip of the pavement. They're actually the structure and keeping everything together, your whole investment in the sexy side of it. So I guess when we talk about racking, I do get excited about Schletter. I'm a bit of a freak, to be fair.
We love it. We love it.
I get very excited because it's German and it's thought out really well. And it isn't like a lot of other racking companies on the market. So it's exciting to talk about because it goes together differently, and when installers use it, they give a lot of good feedback. But yeah, it's not that sexy, but we can make it sexy if we want. We can try.
For sure. I think it was you who said it to me. It might have been you or Dale, but I remember when we transitioned onto the Schletter racking that it was basically from the frame of like, people get really passionate about panels. But what's the point of having a really good panel that's just not going to do what it should because it's going to flap around in the wind, it's going to get micro cracks. Like, you know, you can put all your love and effort and attention into a panel, but if it's not held securely to a root, anyway, I'm just doing the Schletter commission lines, but I guess all of this to say, it's, you know, it's a breath of fresh air in a conversation that's been non-stop battery as well.
Yeah. Just to add to that, there's a lot that actually goes behind it, believe it or not. When I first started, I thought, I know everything about racking, right? I've been in the industry. What's there to know? You got your A-frame certificates, foot, rail, all goes together. Holy moly, was I wrong. There's so much engineering, wind pressures, SLS, ULS, spanning, that terrain categories. There is so much that goes behind a racking design, and it's very fundamental in a commercial system. And we do a lot of work before a job is even.
And there's all that the new wind regions too. So subcategories of wind regions, and it gets really complicated. So we were speaking about complication for installers and retailers based on these regulations, those regulations, and then they took what was 4 wind regions, and now it's anything but simple.
Yeah, the Queensland has B1 and B2. Like, it's like, oh, we're not in bananas in pajamas. Like, let's just leave it to Queensland, you know. Actually, Schletter, we only define 1 in Queensland, which is good. We just do Win B. We try to keep it simple. But you're right, and a lot of people don't understand it. They don't actually understand a lot of the stuff that goes behind it. And they probably may feel like they're installing it correctly, but some of them won't realize that they're actually installing it out of compliance. And you see that often in new build solar because they have thinner batten sizes, and people just think that the certificates are all compliant, but they're actually, you know, there's a lot of things that go into that. And it's interesting how much you actually end up teaching people along the way. And I've learned a lot myself. So,
well, just to gas you up a little bit, I think that is the sort of component that you wouldn't expect a lot of support from a manufacturing company for. It's just like it's a required part of the system. You sort of wouldn't expect too much, but Schletter's definitely gone above and beyond and made a really big splash in the Australian market over the last few years.
Well, they've been broke, haven't they, Luana? As in, Schletter's come and gone a couple of times out of the racking market.
In Australia?
globally?
Globally, I wouldn't say come in and out. So what happened was, I believe, this is before my time, there was a lot of change in the company maybe like 5 years ago, roughly around that time. And they started to venture out into different product ranges, right? Batteries and all the likes of things. And at the time, the managing director who owned the company put the company in a financial strife by doing that and not focusing on what was important, which was the racking, right? At that time, we had investors that came in and they invested in the company, and then the company grew from there. So I think that was about 5 years ago. So that's probably where you would have seen it. Maybe there was stuff before that, but since then, the company's growth has been really good financially and otherwise. But we've been in Australia since 2011. So they still actually invested in the staff here, and we've never pulled out of the Australian market. We just had the wrong approach to market basically up until 3 years ago.
Awesome response, Luana.
Well,
that was quite the question from Jensen, right between the eyes.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And you handled it
No,
really,
but
really well.
it's history. But it's
It is.
history.
And all companies, no matter whether they're new or old or, racking or inverters. I was talking to someone today going, we've got there's this new S product, the one that starts with S. I'm not going to name it, but the S product that everyone's talking about. And we were joking, going,
it's a lot of Voldemort. You can say
it is Voldemort.
It's a small industry, Nigel. You mean S?
No, I mean SIG Energy, right? Everyone went I was joking with someone today and saying, SIG Energy, they're doing some incredible things and they've got this great story and they're on fire at the moment and having a great time and, killing it in the market and dominating. Does anyone remember NEDAP?
Oh,
right?
yeah.
NEDAP, right?
Or
someone's
going to have to
whole
fill me
bunch
in
of
there.
other
I don't
products
remember.
that came
Me
went through the ups and downs of the solar coaster. So, I think good on you, Karl, for giving Luana a chance to tell the story about the ups and downs of Schletter.
Well, I missed out on the Schletter party on a particular year that I went to Intersolar, and Luana.
Now we know where the question
Oh, so we're better. Okay.
Meeting where we were
Oh,
talking about so Luana was lucky enough to get to not only Intersolar but snack at the same on the next trip. But
Yeah.
Schletter is, I don't know if we're famous or notorious or whatever, but they had one of the biggest bashes.
They
going
had the
with,
biggest after party. It is
heaps of entertainment.
It's wild.
Lots and lots of
people
beer
are
and
standing up on the tables. They're serving cocktails from like 10 a.m. It is like the red tape in Australia at conferences is like crazy.
So, Luana, you went to Intersolar. I remember going to the Fronius factory and there was traffic going through Salzburg on the bus. So we didn't go through Salzburg. We went sort of north of there towards Munich. And you go through these small Bavarian towns. And then in the middle of nowhere, seemingly, there's this massive Schletter factory. So we drove past that and saw that. And then you see like these little villages around it. But I remember seeing that.
There's like a castle in the background.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It's pretty cool.
I was there.
How was the show?
It's interesting.
How was the show this year?
It's amazing. It's actually my first time I've ever been. Naturally, being in manufacturing only for 2 years, I haven't got to do all that sort of travel. And it just, I don't know if you guys remember, but a lot of EPCs actually go to the shows and showcase themselves as well. So it is very different to Australia. And there's just so many reputable brands, and Europe just cares so much about quality, that the quality in the brands and then the big brands that shine. So I just really loved that side of it, because you kind of felt like every stand you were going to, there was something new and interesting to learn. Like it was very like engaging in that way and probably more relevant to our market. Whereas when you go to Schnet, you guys have been, it's like being at the Easter show. There's just so much going on everywhere. It's just all in your face. And you can get lost in that place so quickly, so fast. So the show was awesome. I loved it. My favorite section was actually the EV charging section, because I feel like you just got such a picture of what the future looks like. I remember walking in and I saw like someone had on display a big fuel station sign, and it had, fast charge, slow charge sort of rates. And I just thought to myself, that is our future, literally that right there. And it's not very far away. So that was cool. I liked that.
That's what Eddie always says whenever he goes to China, is he's just like, it's just like stepping into the future. then you come back to Australia and you're like, it's okay, we'll get this soon.
Yeah. So
I wanted to riff off something you were talking about earlier around the compliance of installs. So you mentioned that if people aren't aware of the different roof zones and space-ins and which wind region, they can quite easily do a non-compliant install. Now, in the era of the battery scheme at the moment, where every company is pushing batteries under the rebate scheme, there's a similar concern with the battery warranties, because a lot of those warranties are limited warranties. So it's not just a straight 10 years, it's a 10 years limited warranty. And there's a lot of factors that impact on that. So it can be how you cycle the battery, the depth of discharge, or how the state of charge of the battery is ongoing. There's a whole bunch of other things in there as well that impact and potentially negate the warranty well before the 10 years. So I think it's a good message to installers and retailers at the moment to say, hey, have a look at these warranties and understand, Karl, you've been talking about selling little old ladies oversized batteries, but there's an issue too when you're undersizing batteries and they're going to get flogged and the warranty isn't going to be what you expect it to be. If you've got a limited warranty over 10 years and you've undersized the battery and it gets cycled to the point where the warranty is up in 5, 6, 7 years because it's already had the throughput and it's done all the stuff it needs to do under their conditions, under consumer law and according to the ACCC, if you've given the 10-year guarantee, you're going to have to pick up that liability at the tail end under your business. So I think it's more an education piece, and it's something that came up this week in my travels and my conversations. And just when you spoke about the racking there, that touched on the same issue.
Yeah, it's about education of that compliance, right? Like really understanding what it is that you're installing. And just to go to the racking side, I think sometimes a lot of people will purchase in kits so that it'll be a 4, a 6, an 8 panel kit. And they just think, okay, great, it's an 8 panel kit. It's compliance for 8 panels. But they're actually designed for the middle section of the roof. They're middle zoning. They're very generic. You know, they don't equate to those extra feet that are allowed on the outside and things like that. And you take them to WinC and they're basically not compliant at all. It is sort of an education piece and one we actually lead with in sales because Schletter spanning is fantastic. And you can actually get very good spans in the middle. And so we lead with that because that's something that's a sales point, but that sales point then actually turns to an educational piece. It probably leads into every single product that we have in our market. And actually, I'm going to take it back there, Nigel, because the inspectors focus on the labels and they don't focus on the compliance that is so important. They're all about the labels and the diagram too. The diagram's also really important that goes in the meter box. And God forbid you actually put it on with tape. You actually have to silicone that thing on there. Otherwise you also get also up
so true.
For that.
So true.
That's the thing as well, is not just the education, but some of our compliance checks in the Australian market don't actually check against these things as well and educate the customers. It's a work health and safety law against getting up on the roof, right?
I'm going to challenge you. I know some inspectors who work really hard. I reckon we should get some of these inspection guys on and have a chat. We've chatted with Pat in the past, but there's others out there. They work
Pat's
really hard. I mean,
yeah.
Big shout out to the inspectors.
And the label manufacturers, of course.
Hey, mate, I'm not in Western Australia. Bloody hell. It's the Wild West over there.
I was going to say you've forgotten about Queensland up here, but Canberra's actually an interesting market because I've got a Canberra background and they're inspectors of the government. So they're not individually outsourced or anything like that. So they have the same. But even there, they don't get up on the roof and they do focus on labels a lot. They focus on a lot of things, but the labels do come up a lot. And it's sometimes you're going, oh, God, they're just labels. What else?
I guess that's an easy thing to check off, right? Like if you've got this long checklist that you're trying to get through, the labels are at least something that's very, very visual and very easy to say, yeah, that's a visible thing that I can or cannot see. Instead of actually, doing the tests and such that they may or may not be doing. I wanted to ask, I think it's very clear that you're very passionate about what you do. And I personally love passionate people about whatever they love. What excites you about a project? Like when you is it like a particularly big commercial setup or a ground mount? What thing really ticks your boxes for a project?
Footings.
What thing ticks my boxes?
How good are footings?
Oh, just they're so sexy, aren't they? When they just clip on and they got all pre-assembled, they just, it's just really,
baby.
yeah, just really, really love that. To be honest, I don't know if it's a particular project. What excites me and keeps me going is innovation in the solar industry and the people, to be fair. I just love it. Like everyone's just so open and yeah, projects excite me. When I get like a 3 megawatt all on one roof, that's bloody exciting. I always ask them, on one roof, just one? That's exciting because it's a challenge. And another one we had a specialized roof type. So Bondor insulated sandwich foam roof. So you can't actually fix into the pellet. You have to fix
what?
Oh, it's called Bondor. It's like an insulated sandwich foam roof. Do you know what that is?
I love a bit of sandwich roof.
Yeah, we got it. Yeah,
all the cool rooms and all those guys use them, right?
Yeah, they've got insulation in the roofing sheet. So you can't fix into the purlin or the substructure. You have to fix directly into the roof sheet with the feet, basically, because otherwise you'll damage the insulation, and the purlins are usually like 3 meters apart in these insulation. So we had quite a large project, 2-3 megawatts of this, and it wasn't just your standard trapezoidal kingspan or trim deck. It was a Bondor, so it's a different structure. So we actually we had a product for it, but because it doesn't get sold very much, it was 4 individual parts. So you had to pre-assemble the L foot into the bracket and then put everything together. So we actually ended up doing that in our manufacturing facility. So, and by the way, racking is very manual work still in our industry. So if you go over there, we have our own facilities. We're vertically integrated. We have our own facilities. So you could go see the factory if anyone ever wants to do it. And there's people there with drills and they're putting that together the same way we would here in Australia. So we did that for the project. It's now a product on our product list, but we did that for the project. So that sort of stuff gets me excited, when you got a specialized roof and you got to find a good solution. I was also told we smashed the quotation by so much money. So I was really happy at the end because I was like, oh, we did really well on that project. So that sort of stuff gets me going.
And you mentioned the people too, Luana. So you were talking about how, yes, there's products and solutions that are exciting, but also the people themselves. And I agree with that. So how do you set yourself apart? Apart from being just friendly and being nice, how do you set yourself apart in an industry full of nice people trying to peddle their goods?
That's a good question. And I don't even know sometimes how I do that. I think it comes to me a little bit more naturally. And I think it comes from passion. I'm so passionate about it that because I come from operations, when I'm speaking with somebody, I don't just sell them something. I go, okay, this is the solution, but you have to see it through. So you have to go to the other side where it's like, okay, now we're talking about insulation and then we're talking about post-care. And then if there's issues, it's about servicing those issues. So I think that's probably where I feel like I might differentiate and connect with people in that side, because I have done that previously before. Is it seeing something through? And to be fair, I didn't come into this side and go, I just want to be in manufacturing in general. I actually probably second guessed it a little bit before I came into this side, thinking, what am I doing? I'm just really passionate about the people that I work with as well. I'm really passionate about Schletter and the product. I think it's pretty evident when I'm talking. Sometimes people got to tell me to stop talking about it, including my husband. So yeah, I'm really passionate about the product, and being German and stuff, they're passionate about it equally. So with your KS 1000, your Kingspan insulation, we've done testing directly with the manufacturer of Kingspan for that product. I think us and another provider are the two that would be on their actual installation manual for that. So
it's got to be Clenergy, surely.
No, actually, it's S5.
Okay, there you go.
It's very interesting, that topic, actually, mixing product. I've done it before, and the way that we've done it is in a commercial setting, and we take the test reports from both, and so we get them from S5 and we bring them to a structural engineer who lives, operates, owns here in Australia, and they then take both test reports and then they do the design from there. In terms of warranties, you do start and stop wherever you go, but we're fortunate enough to have a good relationship with S5 in a way or sense that there's comfortability between the two brands. But yeah, it is a very interesting question on how you do that. We rarely do it because our product range is so like big and we don't really need it. But sometimes in your long line, there's just some weird and wacky seam clamps.
And it's like the
there.
aftermarket
Really
roofs, right?
seam
It's
clamps.
not your genuine clip lock or long line roofs. It's your aftermarket ones that mimic them, apparently. Well, that's a conversation I've had with other racking manufacturers too. And shout out to S5 because over the years I've been a Clenergy distributor and they've got a decent array of different roof brackets and similar to you guys, but it seemed you get one of these really obscure roofs or strange designs, and S5 almost always seemed to have a solution to attach to it.
I think it's really incredible in a place where you'd expect a lot of adversary and like competitiveness and almost unwillingness. I think it is a big strength of a company to be able to say, I actually think the best solution for the customer or for this project is a collaboration.
Well, I think that's the most important thing, right? Like, and with S5 brackets to go into it, because they are so unique. Like I know for me, I wouldn't want a clamp that might be universal, that's just kind of very large clawing onto those. I'd want something that is customized to that so it has the best grip, because you're not penetrating into anything. It has the best grip in there. And that is ultimately the best solution, right? For longevity. And it's funny because we have a lot of clip lock, like so many seam clamps, like Schletter's been going for a very long time, since 1968, probably for a long time. So we've got them all, but it's just a difference of having them here in Australia. That's the difference. So yeah, it's every now and again, very rarely. It's more the T-shaped ones, the T-shaped ones that are like, yeah, they're very unique roof types, but yeah.
So using the same rationale, if we're not meeting your podcast and information requirements, jump across to Solar Sidekicks. That's awesome. And Lauren, shout out to Solar Sidekicks. Now, Luana, I'm curious, what's your proudest milestone or achievement in recent years?
I would say my proudest achievement personally would be challenging myself to do something I don't typically do, which was sales, and doing a good job of it. That would be an achievement of mine. It's something I said I would never do, and I'm proud of that. Yeah. And then personally, another great achievement is just raising two great children. That's a good achievement. It's a juggle, and it's a juggle that I couldn't do without the support of my husband. I've got to give raps to that man because it's a team effort, right? And I couldn't be in the success I've been without the support of him.
I need to know, Luana, how old are these people that we speak of?
My children, they are 5 and 7. So I've got two little girls. They're 5 and 7. So very susceptible to being around Mum, and they're very proud of me as well. So they're very used to me going, and I have to get them a keychain every time I travel though. So their bags are so heavy, they're like, wait.
It's a bit of a challenge then. You do some travel for work and you've got the work commitments, and you mentioned your husband is very supportive, which is good. But what other tips would you have for mums who are traveling with kids, young kids, before and after you go, just to make it easier?
Something we do at home is we have like a calendar. And the calendar is for my youngest daughter, and she can see when I'm physically traveling. So she knows when I'm going and when I'm coming home, because otherwise the kids, they go, oh, well, you're leaving again, and when are you coming back? And they're not big trips. They could be a couple of days, but it's the concept of leaving. So we do that. And then another tip is just when you are home, just to switch off. Like you've got to be present when you are home. So when you're home and you with them, you switch off at 5 and you spend that time with them. And I think when you travel, you're grateful for that time too. Like sometimes when you're caught up in it all the time, you just think, oh, they're annoying me, just leave me alone. But when you travel, you have missed you, like, and you're just really present in the moment. And also, I think one of the other tips I would say is just being really honest. Like I speak to them honestly about like what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. And they have a really good concept of like, Mum travels and that's a good thing. And she's seeing the world and they're very like encouraging around that and around me having a career as well. So having 2 girls, I'm like, yep, independence, let's go. So yeah, it's that as well.
And you're coming back with a gift. Yeah. That always helps too.
Yes. So coming back with a key ring. I think I'm going to have to mix it up though. I'm going to have to move it to magnets. Yeah,
Luana,
I got one.
you
Looking
brought
off
back, there's such great memories of when my middle boy is 21 now. And when I was closer to your age, he was, 4 or 5 and at home. And my wife rang me and said, listen, your son's in the treehouse and he's packed a bag. And I asked him, what are you doing with that bag and where are you going? And he said, I'm going to the airport like Dad, because Dad always flies. And we had to go through this same thing of going, we need to actually be a little bit more structured around their understanding of that I'm going, but I'm coming back. And he kind of went through this period of thinking that, going to the airport every week was just how life went.
Well, it is for you,
Well, not so much these days, but in the early days. So, I think more power to you, Luana. It's a real tough juggle to work with, especially younger kids, and you'll get through it. But keep that hard work and that structure going. I think it's really beneficial.
It is hard. I won't say to everybody who's listening, it's easy, because I don't want to put rose-colored glasses around it. It is very difficult to do. And some days you have your struggles, and to be real, you're like, God, can I do this? But I love it enough, and I love what I do that, yes, I can. But you've got to also keep that balance. I think more just to go a little bit off script here is, in today's world with the way technology is advancing as well, we all have to keep a little bit of balance, whether or not we travel or anything like that, because switching off and being present is super important. And unfortunately, technology doesn't allow us to do it these days. So, yeah.
This is our favourite part of the podcast, Luana. People aren't interested in racking or batteries or any of that stuff. They're interested in the other people that we have
I'm
on the podcast.
interested in the racking.
And this is why we're here, ultimately.
So how do you and your family unwind then? You're talking about being present with each other. Is there any other way or tricks or things you do to unwind?
Yeah. Well, we're a bit of a Yahtzee family. If anyone's ever
Stop it.
Yeah, my kids have learned Yahtzee from a young age. So did I. So when my mum comes to visit, it's like the full family, and we're also very competitive. So as anybody who beats me would know that I am. And we play board games together, and we also go camping and things like that as well. Luckily with work, you have that flexibility where you can, leave a bit earlier on one day traveling. It's the beauty of what we do. And do you know what I love the most about my job is if my kids have an Easter hat parade or there's like a award ceremony at school, I can be there. And I don't feel bad about it because all the hours we do, and it's actually priceless, because when you're in 9 to 5, you feel like you're letting people down when you do that, or you kind of have to juggle which one will I go to, which one will I not go to, and it's so awesome to have that full-time career and just be there at those moments that are normally inconvenient.
I would just request that primary schools do the awards at the start, because you go to one where your kid's not the item of the assembly, not doing the performance. You have to go through the performance, principal speech.
Oh my God.
You have to go through everything, and they do the awards at the end.
Who are these other schmucks? I'm just here to see my kid.
Yeah.
Who are these other?
Exactly.
I agree with you. Actually, to be honest, I can't keep up with school. I swear school is a full-time job. It's worse than work. Like the number of notifications that you get for like dress ups and all this stuff. And the Easter hat parade this year, like I am very competitive, and we spent a very long time making these Easter hats. I can tell you. I went to Bunnings. I cut out the top. I had the full Bunnings hat. We made paper mache eggs. The eggs were like hanging off like the good old, Australian.
Did you win?
Thing they do. They did win.
Yes. Good job, Luana.
Let's go.
So, but it's outrageous, like how much stuff you have to do for school.
I was asking you about recent achievements, and I can't believe you didn't headline with the Easter hat parade.
I know. I should have. It's a great achievement. So
it's been really good to chat with you. We do have to wrap it up shortly, so we normally go around and get last comments, and we're going to do that now. And we'll start with you, Jess.
Oh, yes. I just wanted to shout out that the Solar Cutters South Australia event is coming up very soon as well. So you probably have to make 2 trips, but more so to say the people who are around here in Adelaide, it is the 14th of August. Looks like it's going to be a good time at the Glenelg Pier Hotel. And yeah, I know I said at the start, but I'm really looking forward to seeing people next week, and please come and see me, say hi. It's going to be a really good one to get together and try and sort through the mess we're in.
Can't wait for that. And also, if you jump onto Solar Cutters, there's a whole bunch of other road shows that are upcoming and probably one near you. So check it out and get along. Last comments, Karl.
Oh, it's a tough one, Luke. It's been such a busy week. What I have learned is a lot of customers are telling me that there's now 3 different portions of the market for batteries. One is, I don't want anyone to drive my battery but me. It's just me. I want self-consumption. No one's going to touch it. Second part of the market is OVO. I want to get my free money. I want my free power. I want to do as much as I can in that window, and I need this or whatever. And then the third part of the market is Amber. I want to trade energy with everybody else, and I want to be my own station. And it's tricky to figure out, how do we categorize our customers and how do we work out what those customers actually need and so on? Is it the same gear? Is it different gear or whatever? But ultimately, the battery rebate was only intended to be 30% of the cost of the battery, and people were unrealistic in thinking that they could do whatever for a small amount of money. That these things are still expensive, and therefore the number of quotes that people have got out there versus the number of quotes that they've actually managed to sell, two very different things. So,
what was it earlier? $500 and a handshake or something like that?
That's one of those handshakes where you spit in your hand first, isn't it? Borat style.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Like these really cheap quotes going around, right?
Yep.
Look, I think people are going to be realistic as to you get what you pay for. Anyone who's our age that can afford these things.
Oh, the poor man pays twice. The poor man pays twice, honestly. It's so true.
We were in Terrigal at a friend's place, and it's an $8 million house on the beach. And he says, check out my solar system on the granny flat out the back. I've got 6.6 kilowatts in a battery. And I go out there and there's an Alpha on the wall, and you're just like, who sells a 6.6 kilowatt system and an Alpha on a $10 million house?
Parents' songs with a tuxedo.
Last comments, Nige?
Tempted to talk at length about what I've learned about WA, but, commiserations to everyone in WA. It's been very tricky and difficult, but it's Vic 2.0 at the moment. So, but, there are signs that things are progressing. So I won't bang on about that. But I'm going to talk about something personal as well. Origin contacted me a couple of weeks ago and went, hey, we're just going to come and install a new smart meter at your house. And I waited, and then a level 2 guy turned up the other day and just went, hey, I'm here to install your smart meter. And drilled into my asbestos board in my 50-year-old switchboard that the doors rusted off, and just whacked that meter in. And he said, have you got solar? Here's the button if you've got solar. And I said, no, I don't have solar yet, but that's the plan, mate. And he said, this is the button. And so instead of having to cough up or I couldn't convince him, we've talked about this on the podcast historically, I had to go to my landlord and try and convince him to spend $3,500 to do a switchboard upgrade to allow me to put on free solar and batteries for him. Instead, Origin sent a guy in with a bunch of wet wipes to handle the asbestos board, and he had a meter on. It was in and out in 20 minutes. I said to the guy, mate, if it's okay, I'm just going to sit here and watch the whole process. I'm that guy. I'm just going to watch. And he looked at me and he just literally
breathing down his neck.
Okay.
Did you do that pose where you got both hands folded behind your back?
Yeah.
Oh, even better.
Yeah.
Even better.
Yeah.
I was on a video call, having a conference call with people while he was doing it. He's, trying not to kill himself. But anyway, 20 minutes in and out, bang, brand new
Unreal
meter. So my home is finally now solar ready. So I'm very, very excited because now I've been going, what battery would I get? What solar would I get? What racking is the best for this room?
What racking?
What racking? I've got, it's a rental.
Show us your rack,
I've got
Nige.
specific needs. I need to be in and out. I might need to pull it off. So I've got some specific needs. So I've gone through this really exciting process of working out what I can finally do on this rental. I haven't gone to the landlord yet to let him know the good news, but, I'm going to slap stuff on the east, north, south, west, and put the biggest battery I can possibly afford on. All donations are welcome.
Yeah, I'm taking donations too, actually. I've got a new house. I'm taking donations to solar systems as well. Hit me up.
All right, Luana from Schletter Australia, it's been great to chat, and thanks again for coming on.
Thank you.
Look forward to catching up soon. What are your last comments?
I don't have any particular comments, just a big thank you to everyone for having me. It's been fun. More fun than I was expecting. I get nervous for this stuff, but it's been absolutely awesome. And I really love your story, Nige, because that sounds like my electrician that I used to work with in the south coast of New South Wales, Dazza. And he'd just be like, mate, back in my day, it didn't even mean anything. Just get the blower out and blow it around. Should be right. So,
yeah.
Shout out to Dazza.
Dazza, Dazza made his own house. As soon as you walk in, you've got the big logs in the middle of. He's out in Congo, and if anyone knows where Congo is, he will love this if he hears it. And you walk into his loo, and it's like a portaloo, right? Like you literally walk in, it looks like an outhouse, but it's in the middle of the house. It is awesome, like absolutely awesome. So anyway, good old Dazza. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on, and I look forward to catching up soon. And thanks for watching and listening. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share. And now that we're actually on YouTube with videos, you can click the follow, subscribe button. You can like the videos. So please do so, and we'll catch you next time.